Officially, week 4 starts tomorrow, so let's get into the games to watch. So this is just going to be games that I have coming up on Saturday. I know there's games on Thursday and Friday, but didn't get this video out in time to preview those ones. So first game that I have for the Saturday slate is going to be Clemson versus Wake Forest. Now this is going to be a huge game for Clemson in particular and the ACC as a whole, just because it looks like Clemson's going to be their only shot at the playoff, which it is pretty much every year. Wake Forest is going to be at home. They have a good quarterback ranked in the top 25. So if Clemson loses this game, it could cost them the playoff as a conference. So I'm not cheering for either team. I think it would be cool if Wake Forest won, just because I always like upsets and Wake Forest hasn't beat them in a long time. I mean, ultimately, I think Clemson is going to pull this game out in Wake Forest. I think their defensive front is just a little bit too powerful. They have a lot of NFL guys on that front. Wake Forest does have an experienced offensive line, but they did struggle last week to protect the quarterback against Liberty. So Clemson has one of the best defensive fronts in the college football right now. So I expect them to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback and Hartman, disrupt him a lot, get him out of the pocket, and he doesn't do the best when he doesn't have a clean pocket to throw from. So I expect Clemson to win this one. I don't expect it to be particularly close, but this will be an interesting game to watch, because if Clemson does loses, that's it for the ACC in my opinion. And then a fun one to watch would be Duke, Kansas. This Kansas game is sold out. It's been advertised on Twitter all week. 2 undefeated teams. This game is going to be the battle of the blue bloods in basketball, but on the football field. Like I said, both 3-0 to start the season. I think Kansas looks a lot better than Duke in my opinion. They've beat more quality opponents in West Virginia and Houston. And I can't wait to see Jalen Daniels play again. That man has been electric this year, doing it both through the air and with his legs. I think Kansas pulled this one out at home. It's going to be a fun atmosphere, and it's fun when Kansas is good. They just haven't been good in a long time, so that'll be a fun one to watch. And then Florida at Tennessee. Now, we're going to learn a lot more about Florida. It seems like we know what Florida is every week, and then we're not sure because they beat a good Utah team in week 1. Utah still looks pretty good. And then they lose to a good Kentucky team at home again. And then they barely beat a bad USF team at home. So what do we have with Florida? I mean, it's looking like they're going to be a middle of the road SEC team again this year. This is going to be their first road game of the year after 3 weeks at home in a hostile environment there in Tennessee. And I'm more of excited to see what Tennessee does. I expect them to win this game convincingly. You know how Tennessee is every year. Win some big games, lose some big games, end up being middle of the road. Let's see if Tennessee can take a step up this year and challenge for the top of the conference. And then Arkansas at Texas A&M, another big SEC matchup. Like Florida, Arkansas started the game 3 games at home, and now their first road game is in a very hostile environment going into College Station. But Arkansas looks good so far, obviously led by their quarterback KJ Jefferson, who's had 770 passing yards this year, 6 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He can do it both through the air and with his legs. Texas A&M is kind of a mixed bag, but I mean, it's not crazy to think they do have obviously one of the best recruiting classes coming in the history of recruiting. But they're young, so I expect them to be up and down this year. I expect them to win some big games, beat some good teams, but then also, as we've seen, lose some questionable games and not show up on some weeks. But make no mistake, I'm not giving up on Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. I think this is going to take a couple years to develop if they can keep these players here. But they have the talent. I still believe in Jimbo Fisher as a great coach. So I think next year and the year after, Texas A&M is going to be pretty scary. And I think they win this game. Arkansas is good, but that's a tough game to win. I think Texas A&M still has a lot to prove, and I think they're going to try and do that this week. And then my favorite late night game is going to be USC at Oregon State. This used to be a sleeper game, I thought, but the media has been covering it quite a bit, giving a lot of props to Oregon State for obviously being 3-0, and it's always a tough team to play at home. They got a loud stadium. I think they have the chainsaws going, and USC has a great offense. Their defense is a little bit suspect to start the year, so I really don't expect Oregon State to pull this out, but I do expect it to be a fun game. And those Pac-12 after dark games, something weird always happens, so it's going to be a fun watch. And yeah, I expect something exciting to happen in that game, but ultimately I expect USC to win. And some sleepers, Baylor at Iowa State, Oregon at Washington State. Those will be fun games to watch as well now that conference play is in full swing. Let me know in the comments what your favorite matchups are this week and what you're going to be focused on. And leave a like if you like the video. Let me know what I can do better, and we'll see you guys in the next one.